Hey yo, it's AQ. Nice to see you. I'm gonna give a little talk, share a little talk that I put together for RailsConf, but never got to give. I've built, run, and helped different teams. Currently, I'm the CTO of a company called AgriList. We're a data analytics platform for indoor farms, which is fun and awesome. But before that, I was working doing consulting for a lot of teams, and I ran a big team before that, and yada, yada, yada. Over the time, I learned a lot about being a better manager and a better employee, and I figured I could share a couple tips because I still make some of these mistakes, and other people around me sometimes make mistakes, and I figure I should share. But actually, being a better manager employee really means how to not be crappy at what you do. And that's because really the majority of your job, if you're in software, at least my opinion, is that it's about people. It's not about the code. Sure, the code is the product of your work, but your actual work day to day is working with other people. And I'm sure you have lots of exceptions, and you're going to tell me I'm wrong, but trust me, this is the case. So, simple logic, therefore, if you're crappy at working with people, you're probably crappy at your job. And people might not tell you that, but maybe that's true. And so, getting better at the people part is getting better at your job. One of the worst myths that I see a lot of young engineers face is that they feel like they have to be extroverts to be good at working with people, and that's just not true. I happen to be an extrovert, but I know a lot of people who are introverts who are actually good at being managers and good at working with other people. Because being good at working with other people isn't about being bubbly and getting all your energy from other people. It just means communicating effectively. And communicating effectively isn't necessarily about talking to someone face to face. Actually, most of what being a good manager is about is listening, not talking, just hearing what other people say and then doing something about it. And so when I hear terms like hands off or unreachable or aloof to describe managers, usually to me that means they're not good at what they do. Because you can be, you don't have to be around for every single day or every single thing that someone needs, but interacting with your coworkers and working with them is part and a big part, in my opinion, of being a good manager. One of the worst fallacies of our industry is that we assume that everyone who's rising the ranks of going from junior developer to senior developer, maybe to manager, CTO, that they need more and more training on how to write code or the newest technology, but they don't need training on how to be a manager, which is just not true. Working with people is a skill just like writing code. So quickly, here are some things that I've learned over the past couple of years of working with people. One, like I said, listen. Listening is so important, and listening doesn't just mean hearing, it also means understanding. It means being empathetic to what other people are telling you. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to agree with everything they say. It just means you have to hear what they say and take it into account in your day to day. And really trying to listen and not just talking over or not zoning out, it's really hard, and it's a skill you have to learn over time. It's something I'm still learning how to do. Once you listen and absorb all that information, the second most important thing is actually to try to follow through. And it's really hard to try not succeed in following through, but it's really, really, really important that you try. Most people who ask you to do something, or an employee who wants you to tell you something important, or a problem that they have, even if you can't fix it, just the fact that you listened and you tried in some way to fix it often goes a long way. Really important, something that I made the mistake of doing a lot early on in my career, is always giving people directions instead of direction. And what I mean by that is giving people a manual of step one, do this, step two, do this, step three, do this, instead of giving them a clear goal that they can figure out the steps in. This is especially true of working with junior developers who are just learning. You need to give them the chance to figure out how to get to the end goal, and you can correct them along the way, but it's really important not to give them the full picture or the full details of everything they need to do without giving them a chance to figure it out themselves. And finally, just like I was saying, working up to being a good manager should be treated like working up to being a good developer. It only gets better with practice, learning, research, mentorship, working with other people who can teach you things. Constantly reflecting on how you're doing and through reviews, through peer feedback, whatever it is super important. And it's something that we don't talk about often enough. And finally, some tips for employees. As a manager, once I was an employee and I'm still an employee to my boss, and there are some things that I really strive to do as an employee as well. First of all, you should give your manager the benefit of the doubt that they actually are trying. But when they're not, when they're not doing things you need to do, it's important that you call them out. And that doesn't mean yelling at them necessarily, but it means telling them that they could be doing better. Really important, and on a similar vein, is just being upfront when you need help. If you're lost, if you're stuck, one of the worst feelings as a manager is seeing that your employee is stuck and not having known about it. They were stuck for a week and you didn't know about it because they just didn't speak up. Sometimes, young developers are worried that they're going to bother their manager too much or they're asking too many questions, and usually that's never a problem. Usually it's just the other way around. Finally, demanding clarity is super important. Just like as a manager, I want to give good direction, as an employee, I want to demand that my manager gives me that direction and gives me the clarity I need to do my job well. And by clarity, I mean clear goals, clear understanding of what the big picture is, and clear understanding of what I, as an employee, need to do to succeed. And finally, for everyone, the most important thing is really just giving a crap about other people and their feelings. If you are empathetic and you care about other people and you care about what they do and want to see them succeed as well, usually that's what makes a great team. Thanks, everybody. I'm AQ. Peace.